the water from the fish tank is distributed out over these white beds. There's no soil in the system, just gravel. So all the nutrients that the plants absorb come from the leftover fish feed. Or well, there are no leftovers, but the excrements from the fish. And there's just gravel in the system. And they are the surface of the gravel is where all the bacteria are placed. And since we have the water dripping over the surfaces, the bacteria perform this nitrification. They convert ammonia to nitrate, which is a form of nitrogen that the plants like. And also there's a gas exchange. Carbon dioxide goes out, and oxygen goes in. So the water drips out in the bottom of the box and runs by gravity to pumping pit. And I think which drains about every 10 minutes. So the plants that you see, you can behind the blue jacket there. Behind you, you can see a yogurt can on top of the paper.
Yeah.
Open that and put some into the tank and they can see the fish. Right now there are only about 30 of them because this accident killed my large package for 12 kilos. And also killed like 74 very large tilapia. Between 3 and 5 kilos. No. And I have eaten them, but only I look here to do attention for the plant. So, actually, given the age for free food, but normally each building takes about 20,000 kilowatt hours of 20,000 kilowatt hours. And most of that is during the cold winter months, especially the lighting takes about 90, more than 90% of all the electricity. But still, the electricity, the lighting here is very weak compared to, for instance, the tomato farm. You won't be able to grow all so up to 25 watts, right? And I have here, I have 25, one line. And that is sufficient to grow bananas, papayas, vanilla, grain. But all of the plants are standing apart, or plants that or will be supplemented. Or just utilizing space to have a greater elevated production. But the plants here are these are guavas, which are very vitamin C rich fruits. And they have about 3 to 5 times more vitamin C than ours. They have cocoa trees here. They actually limit the temperature here because they can't tolerate temperatures below 16 degrees Celsius for any elevated time. So this is what sets the bottom line. So the heating system is set on giving 16 degrees to the outer edges of the house. That's why it's slightly elevated here closer to the heat. We have the cocoa, we have the gold, the vanilla, which actually flowered nicely for 5 years in a row. We managed to produce some very high quality vanilla pots actually. We're ridiculously proud of that. And the next box is mango trees. they grow like crazy. But since it's too warm here, they don't flower. The mango trees and also the flower trees need to have a resting period, which you can only give them by giving them a drought period or you give them a cold period. And since they are standing with their feet in the water, they can't get a drought. So the only thing I can do is decrease the system, decrease the temperature. But I can't decrease it much enough for them to stop growing. It's the thing is that you need to stop growing in normal trees. Should stop and they form a sort of terminal bud, just waiting for the spring. And at that stage, the flower formation starts. And then when the spring comes, it continues to grow and all the flowers come. But in here it's too warm, so they just continue to grow. So mango trees will most likely be moved away from here once I find a bigger greenhouse. And so that's why I also experiment with these truly tropical plants like vanilla. You have along the outer wall these large bushy things, that's cardamom, and things like that. And the allspice that you had, I have some cinnamon trees that are coming hopefully next year. So they just grow up right now.
Tropical plants don't have growth cycles.
Depending if you have, there's a small area of the tropical area that is truly tropical that basically doesn't have any season. They just have rain and high elevated temperature all the year round. Then you have the monsoon areas where you have some sort of seasonality in it. But a season there can be differences in humidity, differences in temperature or rainfall. But they don't have what we have, like we have winters here. So they are always frost-free. They are often above 50 degrees, things like that. So,
but do I hear that you would be interested to have, what do you say, different climatic conditions?
Yeah, my dream would be to have greenhouses where I can have one truly tropical, whether the bananas, the vanilla, things like that, and one that you can take the temperature down to say 10 or 12 degrees. That's where you will have the avocados, the mangoes, the coffee, and then if you have like between 6 and 8 degrees, then you have all the Mediterranean plants, all the citruses, for instance. So, and if you can get that, you can elevate the production much better, and you can also take a far better storage period. What is your motivation? What is the key thing of your motivation? Why are you doing this? Actually, it sounds silly, but I have 3 kids. I have 5 grandkids, and once they bury me, I want them to say that, well, at least he's tried. And and also I can see the need for it, and if I know how to do it, then I should do it, and if I can teach others to do it, then yes, I will do that, because it's necessary. And so my kids and my grandkids know this by heart. They are growing plants, they are growing fishes. I can, especially my 15-year-old grandson, he knows everything here. And their father is come from Peru, and so they go there, and when they are in Peru to visit the grandparents, they we can see and things like that, and we experiment and so on.
Thought of collaboration with the like industrial site?
The thing is that somebody has to pay for the greenhouses, and there's no lack of interested parties that want to buy the product, but there's very few parties that want to pay for the greenhouses and the extra costs. And I mean, normally if you start growing the system, it will take a year, 1.5 years before you harvest the first banana, for instance. And that's a period where you don't have any income, just money out. And so that's this lack here. So there's a lack of greenhouses, basically, and there's a lack of investment money that can suffer this period of no income at all. But there,
like in South Sweden, I've been to some similar sites there where they've had tilapia fish also the production side. The industrial side they use the process heat, residual heat for heating the food. But I think then it's probably the interest of this company.
was this in Landskrona?
Yeah.
Yeah. They were growing tilapia in the waste heat from the lead factory. They were recycling car batteries.
Yeah.
But then suddenly the board of the company decided that no, this is not our business, so they just closed it down. It was actually profitable, and everything was up and working nicely. But just somebody thought that this is not our business, or we're not making a large enough profit, things like that. I actually have two investors that I know are billionaires, and one of them was here just to check, is this a good business opportunity? And very quickly became clear that he wanted, is this something that I can make more money than on stock market? So they said, if I invest, I want my money back within 6 months with a 30% profit margin. The other one said the same, but he could go to 1 year, get his money back with a large profit. So they are no risk capitalists. They're just capitalists. They don't take any risk. And one of the things that I do here is that I gather information. There are very few numbers that you can. So on how much bananas can you squeeze out per square meter per year, for instance? How much is the energy consumption in that case? And so basically, I'm the only one that's been doing it here up on the northern latitudes. The Dutch are now having an experiment or a trial for 4 or 5 years, and they say this is a research project, but they haven't published a single article at all. And I talked to the professor responsible for the system. Can you give me advice on some of your articles that you have written about this? The simple answer is no, nothing written yet. So they're commercializing the numbers. They're sitting on it. So basically, and what investors want is numbers. How quickly can we get your investment back? So basically what we would need is some, I don't know, government, some non-profit organization or anything that can start up something in a larger scale.
How is it different from Netherlands tomato growing in a business-wise? I mean, they have 90 something.
In the Netherlands, they had large subsidies on natural gas, which are heating the systems, and they also quite funny. I saw a budget from one of the companies, and they were earning some, was it 14 or 15% of the net earnings was selling electricity. So they buy the subsidized natural gas very cheaply, and they converted it to heat and electricity in the greenhouses. But it's more profitable to sell the electricity out on the grid than using it for lighting. So in some place, I talked to one guy, and he said, we have here 5,000 square meters of greenhouse that is heated but not lighted, so we don't grow anything in it. We sell the electricity because we get subsidized anyway. So it was a insane. But right now the natural gas is going down. The production is going down. The subsidies are also going down. So there was one Dutch company that I heard of that is actually growing tomatoes for the Swedish market that is going to move to Sweden and start producing here instead, because the benefits that they had are slowly disappearing. So, and I think that we should take the opportunity to, we have 12 times more land than Holland. We have all the waste heat. We have plenty of water, plenty of clean energy. So we know we could. We just need to do it on a larger scale.
Can I ask a
This should be on some roof in city center, but
It could be.
here,
That was the original plan.
yeah. But what was
but,
the reason?
The reason was that rainwater is collected on the rooftops and is often drained down on the street. And since you densify the cities, more and more houses, all the green areas are disappearing, and these green areas are often the places where all the rainwater gets slowly disappearing into and forming groundwater, and so all of the water flooding the street, down in the drainage system, flooding is already now the system are overflooded very easily. So if we can make collection systems on the roof, utilizing the water, or at least delaying it on the roof, that will save enormous amount of money of not having to dig up all the streets and enlarging the pitch. But also the possibility of utilizing waste heat from ventilation systems. Most ventilation systems end up on the roof, and they're also very large flat areas. I have one picture that I used when I have seminars. It's one of the shopping centers. They have 2,000 square meters of gravel up on the roof. And the gravel is just used just to keep the surface layer down and to prevent it from going bad from the ultraviolet sunlight. This is some plastic. And besides this, there's a building, and that's where all these shopping centers ventilation system are. They could have a 2,000 square meter greenhouse, keep it for free, and they grow much. The average production for bananas, for instance, is there's no difficulties of growing, I would say, 10 kilos per square meter per year, which is about twice what you get in a normal ground culture on the Canary Islands or in Turkey or things like that. The record in this box here, what you have the banana plant, is 122 kilos in 1 year. So if I ripped out all the other vegetation here and just plant bananas, I would get about a ton.
Can I ask about pollination?
Bananas are self-pollinating.
Yeah, so are all plants here self-pollinating?
The vanillas are very fussy, and I need to hand pollinate each of them each morning. They start to fail, but slowly after lunch.
What is it?
I pollinate them with a small toothpick actually, and I have it's a special technique you use. The bananas are self-pollinating, the guavas are self-pollinating, but you can increase the yield if you can use a brush and touch. In a larger system, I would simply buy some bumblebees that you can help. I normally have a lot of passion fruits. They also need hand pollination, but the bumblebees are very efficient there. Papayas, or these kind of papayas that you see there, are bisexual. They are monosexual plants also, but these bisexual plants, they grow and get pollinated by themselves. Just standard producing fruits.
Do you have had?
I recently grew tomatoes in my balcony, and they're also self-pollinating. But if there's no wind, they tend to pollinate less, so you shake them or something.
The bumblebees are used in large scale in greenhouses, and they are more effective than any other means of vibration or things like that.
What about bugs? Do you have had some insect problems?
We can't add anything here. We can't spray the plant for insects, for instance, because all insect spray are extremely poisonous to water-living creatures. We can't give the fishes antibiotics, because that will instantly kill all bacteria in the system. So the only thing we can add is beneficial insects, like ladybugs, things like that. Yeah. So that's
Spiders.
the spiders are actually here by themselves, and they are doing their job properly, because actually they are eating some of the ladybugs that I implanted. But yeah, but also one of the criteria here is that the plants should tolerate insect a bit. So, the cardamom plant, for instance, is well, they produce cardamom now, so I might keep it just because of the challenge. But they tolerate the insects rather poorly and things like that. So if you can't stand the environment, then you're right, basically. So, but I also try to grow things in 3 layers. You have the fruit bearing layers up here: bananas, guavas, mangoes, papayas. Then you have the bush layer in a forest, where you have the coffee, you have the vanilla, and things like that. And then you also have the bottom layer. So each layer makes a different environment. So here it's a bit slightly elevated humidity. And down here on the bottom, the plants that you see in the end of the boxes here are actually aquarium plants, which are also imported. But 80% of the work comes from really small plants that can tolerate flood. And this is the way we grow them commercially. You have produce long lines of small shoots. You harvest the shoots and leave the mother plant alone. You can see some shoots on that plant in the end of that box. So basically, I experiment, try everything, see if I can manage. And some are so good that I keep them, and some I just think it's fine, I manage, but the profitability is low, and the usefulness is limited, maybe. But I always hope that I get a bigger greenhouse somehow. So I can.
Anything ahead, like any plan for this, or like how is it going?
Any
plan for this, for getting
since I don't have the economy to build a large greenhouse myself, the school has shown some interest in building a greenhouse, because there is no gardening education at all in the entire Stockholm region. The 2 places that existed have been closed down, and so there's a sort of biology point of view, it's an empty niche that I hope they will fill, and they have plenty of space for greenhouses. And there are also some projects out in the country that are looking hopeful, but these things with applying for money, applying for the building permits and things like that takes forever. So.
What are your connection to the nature school here? Where you?
Right now, I'm just preloading. I actually had a small contract with them. Show that I get the energy for free if I open up the greenhouses to they can use money into like a commercial or when they have visitors and things like that. But right now they have changed the ownership. There's a nature school in Sund that I bought everything, and they will make me pay the energy. But
have you made any estimates of how much would you require money to make a new?
I know what it costs to make a new, but normally you can say that the greenhouse itself would set you back about 3.5 million for a 1,000 square meter greenhouse. And if you want to have a more sturdy concrete slab, for instance, to place it, then you would double that money. So somewhere between 5 and 10 million crowns for a 1,000 square meter greenhouse. There are cheaper versions, of course, but then you have to have a very cheap source of energy.
I'd like to ask, were you inspired of this Biosphere 2 in Arizona, early 90s? Yes.
Who couldn't be?
Yeah.
I first thought that it was this popular science magazine called Illustrated Science.
Yeah.
And they had a large article on this. And this.
Yeah.
I have been working as a research engineer at the Technical High School Institute for many years, doing all the laboratory stuff for the scientists, and also being a biologist, this is a combination. But I also was a bit inspired of a project that I have never visited, that is called Tropenhaus.
Okay.
That is lying in Switzerland. I spoke to a politician who managed to get a new law or rule in the canton of Lucerne, where large producers of waste heat should utilize it. Otherwise, you get a fine. The fine would be used to utilize the heat, because the law against stupidity. He also started a large project. So if you Google Tropenhaus, Oiviusson and the Tropenhaus Frutigen, there are two projects that have been raised from utilizing waste heat. In one case, that was this gas compressor station, where having a natural gas from the North Sea down to Italy. And when they compress the gas, it produces enormous amounts of heat. So they have right now a 5,000 square meter greenhouse of a production house, and then a similar size house where they have more a public place, a restaurant, and a pedagogic center, and things like that. And but I've never seen it. I've seen the pictures, but actually the first plants that I had here was the plant that they recommended. Okay. So the bananas, the pitangas, and the guavas, things like that. So I really need to go there, check it out. But it's quite fun. It's quite nice to just, especially if you have a snowstorm outside, and you come in here and it's green, it's warm. Take a cup of coffee, you just sit and
How did you end up this dome structure?
We bought it as a kit from a company in Colorado. That's because we wanted to have something made of wood, and because the wood have a very low heat transfer, the U value, and also the plastic system is placed outside, so there's no we call heat bridges. If you have an ordinary greenhouse made of metal, if you have metal going from the inside to the outside, you have a large heat loss. But I can also say that there's a small heating system that I actually not invented, I just did. I had to build up a half meter of gravel here because it was bedrock and a bit uneven. So I hand shoveled 130 cubic meters of gravel. Nuts. But when I did that, I placed 60 meters of drainage pipe into 30 meters row. And they're going down to the ground here. And in the end, there's a small fan, and we're sucking out the warm air from on top down into the ground, heating up the ground spot here. I checked one of the first year, we had a very cold winter. So, and I only had one of the systems on. So that side had 6 degrees, half a meter down in March. This side had 16 degrees, just by a 20-watt fan sucking up the heat from the summer. And right now I can see that that's the 24 degrees of air going into the system, and 13 degrees going out. The part in between is what's slowly being loaded into the ground here. And but this was actually, I thought of it as the humidification system. Hot ground, it didn't work at all. But as a heated storage system, it works out. Also very cheap. So, but it's easy to do once if you build things from the ground up. So just cost me some sweat and some money. But, some fun. I guess you have to go.
We have to go.
Yes.
Björn, thank you so much.
My pleasure. If you have questions, and so just give them to Lucienne, and she'll forward them for you. And
Yeah.
So
It's a great inspiration.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Nice to have you.
Thank you so much.
Back to the projects and we'll get in touch.
Thank you.
Vilket
There's the banana.
Men det är inte likadant idag. Ja, det är lika pickat. Ja, det är det. Jag hade fisken här inne. Det är för vatten. Det är någon rätt... Ja, det var lite... Ja, man... Det kommer att bli... Det sitter vid bostadsrätten. Vi har en massa band och sånt på innergården. Som spinner på vintern snart. Sjukvården vill göra och... Det blir mer fokus på spektrum. Mycket blom, vad ska kalla det.
Hey, thanks so much, and I hope it was okay. I filmed it.
No problem.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.